The Wheel of the Year is an ancient Celtic tradition and can be an empowering part of our spiritual practice. But what is it exactly? Well, by the end of this video, you'll understand all about how the wheel is structured, as well as the meaning of the solstices, equinoxes, and the cross-quarter festivals. If that sounds good, then boop that like button and let's dive in. Hiya lovely, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Shirley from Sacred Huntress, helping you to create the life you deserve through healing, self-care, and spiritual purpose. So what is the Wheel of the Year? The Wheel of the Year is an annual cycle of 8 different festivals which celebrate the passing of the seasons as the earth revolves around the sun. The festivals were celebrated by the Ancient Celts, and they really encourage us to honour the sacred within the earth. And as we're part of nature, it helps us to strengthen our relationship with the earth and also to honour the sacred within ourselves. Firstly, I want to acknowledge that the Wheel of the Year has been influenced over time. Firstly, by the rise of Christianity, who wanted to appropriate some of these festivals and rename them or rebrand them in a way. And also later in the 20th century, when the Wiccans started to celebrate and honour the Wheel of the Year, referring to each of the festivals as Sabbats, they also renamed some of these things, and so that can lead to a lot of confusion. So to help clarify, I've created this beautiful illustration to help you to understand the different festivals and also some of the different names that are associated with each festival. You'll notice on the outside you'll find the different names of the festivals, and underneath each festival name you'll also find a date in blue or a date range in blue, which is when the festival usually occurs. Now on the inside of the wheel is an alternative name, and some of these are from Christianity, some of these are from Wicca. It can get very confusing, but if you stick to the names on the outside or just see which ones you resonate with most, then you can't really go wrong. Now on the inside I've also added some images which are associated with the theme of each festival, which you may find helpful. And if, as we go through this video today, you find this particular diagram useful, you can find a link to a printable version of this diagram in the description box below. Firstly, I'll explain how the Wheel of the Year is structured, and then I'll give you a brief overview of each of the festivals in turn. The Wheel of the Year is an annual cycle of 8 festivals, falling roughly 6 to 8 weeks apart. There are 2 solstices, one which marks when the sun is at its weakest, at the Winter Solstice, and also the point when the sun is at its strongest, at the Summer Solstice. There are also 2 equinoxes, one in the spring and one in the autumn. Now the word equinox means equal night, so these mark the days when the day and night are of equal length. Now the 2 solstices and the 2 equinoxes make up what are known as the quarter points, and these are solar events. Now if you notice on the chart or the diagram, you'll notice that the titles of the quarter points are in bold. This is just to remind you that these are the quarter points. And marking the midpoints between these, we have 4 other festivals, which were the great fire festivals of the ancient Celts. And if you have a look at our chart, these have a little fire inside to remind you that these are the fire festivals. These fire festivals occur when the earth's energies for that season are at their peak, and these are known as the cross-quarter festivals. So now you know how the wheel is structured. I'll give you a brief overview of what each of these festivals focuses on. Now, if this is something that you're interested in, I'll be going into much more detail in future videos, so consider subscribing. There's some debate about where the Wheel of the Year actually begins. So some say Samhain, some say the Winter Solstice. I've created this diagram with both of those festivals at the top, so you can decide what feels right to you. Now, the Winter Solstice is a quarter point. It marks the shortest day and the longest night. It's the darkest point of the year. And in this festival, we really celebrate the return of the light. Imbolc is a cross-quarter festival. It's a time when winter is at its peak. And it's a time when we celebrate the first signs of spring, which are starting to appear. The spring equinox is a quarter point. As it's an equinox, it's a time when the day and night are of equal length. So we celebrate balance and we celebrate the awakening of new life. Beltane, meaning bright fire, is a cross quarter point. It's a time when spring is at its peak and the first signs of summer are starting to appear. It's a time to celebrate fertility. The summer solstice is a quarter point. It marks the longest day and the shortest night. It's a time to celebrate the sun, and it's a time to celebrate the light. Moving on to Lammas, which is a cross quarter point. It's a time when summer is at its peak. We celebrate the gathering in of the first harvest, usually grain, and we honour this festival with bread. Moving on to the autumn equinox. It's a time when day and night are of equal length. We celebrate balance, we celebrate the second harvest, and we also celebrate change. Then the wheel turns towards Samhain, which is a cross quarter point. It's a time when autumn is at its peak, and we celebrate the final harvest of the year being gathered in. We celebrate loved ones in spirit and honour our ancestors. So that's the structure of the Wheel of the Year and a brief overview of each of the festivals. And as I said, if you want to know more, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any of the more in-depth videos on each of the festivals. So which part of this video was most surprising to you or most useful for you? Let me know in the comments below. And as I said, if you find that diagram helpful, there's a link where you can find a printable version in the description box below. Wishing you a magical time honouring the Wheel of the Year in your own spiritual journey. I'll see you in the next video.